On today's episode, we're talking about tires, deflation, and air compressors. One of the most important things you can do when you're in an off-road situation. Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
You ready? This video is brought to you in part by Raven Truck Accessories and North Shore Off-Road.
Welcome to another episode, everybody. This one's kind of cool. I get asked a lot of questions about, hey, how should I equip my vehicle going out off-road? And one of the most common questions, why do you let the air out of your tires? Well, that's why I've got my compressor here and my air deflator. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Why let the air out of your tires? Well, the conventional way is you want premium, optimum air pressure when you're going down the road, gives you the best fuel economy and everything else. When you're off-road or on a gravel surface, that totally changes. So basically, there's a lot of recovery gear out there. And by having an air deflator and a compressor gives you the power to not use your recovery gear. I know it sounds kind of stupid, but by letting the air out of the tires, deflates the tires down to the point where you have more traction. And that's the key, you want more traction. So to let them out, first you got to start with your tire deflator. Let the air out. When you're done, that's where the compressor comes in, because now you can plug in, and then when you're back on the highway, go up to regular tire pressures, which will increase your fuel economy and everything else. So what happens when you let the air out of your tires? Well, there's a few things that happen actually. First, because you're letting the air out of your tires, your traction patch grows larger. So that gives you more traction, which allows you to not get stuck quite as easily. Great having recovery gear, but it's also great when you don't have to use it. So by letting the air out of your tires, number one, that really allows you to not get stuck, to prevent yourself from getting into that situation. Another benefit is because your tires are reduced in pressure, it takes the rough roads and the gravel and everything a lot easier. It's a lot easier on the spine. So your vehicle will ride a lot nicer in that type of a situation. That's always good. Sometimes when you have too much air in those tires and they hit those potholes, they kind of bounce a little bit more. So that's another secondary benefit from letting the air out of your tires. And a third benefit is when you have low tire pressure, you reduce the risk of punctures in your tires. So when you're crawling over rocks and you got something that's sticking into your tire, because it's not at full deflation, it'll curve and go around that object. So it actually prevents punctures and damage to the tire. So that's a third benefit, and it definitely helps. So when do you know when to air down? Well, quite honestly, if you got a rocky or sandy or gravel road, it's perfect time to do it. If you're going over kind of rock and shale, you definitely want to air down. And also too, in snow situations where you're in deep snow, letting the air out of your tires will give you that extra traction that you need. Now, the benefits depends on what type of tires you're running as well. But airing down will help you in just about every single situation. So it kind of begs the question at that point, can I air down? Is it going to be better for traveling on the road? No, because what's going to happen is now that you've aired down, when you're going at higher speeds, your tires will heat up faster because there's not as much air in them. When you're on the road, you definitely want to bring your tire pressures back up, and that's why you want the compressor. So when you're done having fun for the day, you can air up your tires and they're not going to overheat on you. When they get too hot, they'll definitely have some issues. You're going to start wearing down that tire prematurely, and it's just not a good scenario. You're going to wear out the tires on your vehicle a lot quicker. And they're expensive these days. I don't care which brand you say you like, they're all expensive and they're not getting any cheaper. So you definitely want to make sure you have air back in your tires before you hit the road. Also, the question comes up, how much should I air down to? That's a really good question. It comes down to kind of a little bit of what type of tires and what type of rims you're running. So there's guys who go out wheeling all the time. They'll run with beadlock style rims. Now, what are beadlocks? Beadlocks will have bolts in the side of the rims. They'll bolt through the tire to keep it attached. So you can run at very, very minimal PSI and not have them de-bead on you because they're bolted to that rim. There's also a new tire technology called bead grip as well. And that bead grip technology will kind of trap the edge of that tire bead in to stop it from de-beading in a low pressure situation. So those tires are designed to run super low pressure. So what type of pressure should you run then if you have a normal rim and a normal tire? Well, off-road tire, more of like a 33 to a 35 inch tire on like a normal rim without anything on there to hold that tire on. Well, if you're in sand or loose gravel, 12 to PSI seems to be kind of the good point where you want to air down to. And again, comes down to personal choice, personal preference. I've gone down to 10 PSI. I do not have beadlocks. I do not have bead grips. I have not had them separate yet. But the lower you go, you're going to risk that separation happening again. So if you're out there by yourself, maybe don't go down to 10 PSI because you may require somebody to give you a hand getting that bead back on the tire again. So yeah, there's a couple of different situations there. What if it's a rocky terrain? I find usually about 15 PSI to 20 PSI is usually pretty good in a rocky situation. But if you're going to be doing a little bit more extreme rocky situations, going down to that 12 PSI is also pretty decent. I find it because your tires can now fold over a lot of the obstacles that they're running against, giving you more grip, allowing you to get further on the trail without having to use your recovery aids. What if you're going on a little bit of a muddy terrain? Well, it depends on the mud, really. Again, I kind of find that 15 PSI for a non-beadlock tire seems to be kind of almost that magic mark. You can go down a little bit more, but again, it depends on the situation that you're in. If you're all out 4x4 in a situation where there's lots of skeg and you're crawling over a bunch of stuff, I can see going a little bit lower than that. But if you're just going through regular mud puddles or maybe mud that's only 6 inches deep or something, that 15 PSI should be more than adequate to get you through. So when you're deflating your tires, good question is, what type of tools are the best tools? Well, I have a simple tire deflator, and it basically screws on. And what it does is after it's screwed on, you can unscrew the little valve inside. And when you pull it out, now all of a sudden, all that air can come out. Now, a lot of these tire deflators will come with a PSI gauge on there, so you know how low you're kind of bringing it to. It's always a good idea to bring a tire gauge with you as well. I have found for a good majority of the brands of tire deflators out there, this isn't exactly accurate. And it varies depending on temperature and all sorts of stuff. So when you have a tire gauge with you, you can get that accuracy a little bit better. Now, a lot of companies do make them. ARB makes a really good one. Smittybilt, the one that I run is a Smittybilt. RFX also makes a really, really good tire gauge for a really, really good price. So it just depends on what you want out there. Oh, and there's also tire deflators where you can set the PSI, put them in, and as soon as it hits that PSI, they'll stop. So those ones are a little bit quicker because you can get all 4 of your tires going at the same time. There's also other brands out there like the Kraken, everyone likes to call it, where you're all hooked up via the airline, and you just set what temperature you want your tires out, and it'll deflate them or inflate them once you hook it up to your compressor, and away you go. So there's a few different ways to do it. Either way, there's no really bad way or good way to do it, just which way you prefer. Sometimes this is a little bit slower than just, you know, taking the valve stems out and letting it go and then putting the valve stems back in. I've seen guys do that as well. So really it's your personal choice, your personal preference. I'm happy with using one of these, so I'll continue with that for now. But that's basically how you let the air out of your tire. So when it comes to choosing your air compressor, tire size is probably one of the biggest things that you're gonna look at. If you have a smaller tire, you're not gonna need quite as much of a compressor. But if you have like a 35, 37 or higher, you're gonna want a compressor that has a lot of CFMs to it. So this particular one from RFX, this is the one that I use. It's 5600 CFM. And man, do I love this thing. It's designed for 37-inch tires is what it's designed for. And it definitely inflates my tires at a fairly quick pace. I used to have a cheap inflator before that. I don't know if it was Princess Auto or Canadian Tire or something like that. It was a cheap one, overheated way too quickly, and usually overheated before I was up to pressure again. So this particular one has a way better compressor built into it, and because of that, it'll run for longer periods. Now, with this one, I'm only running 35-inch tires on the Jeep. With this one, because it's rated for 37-inch tires, I can usually do all of my tires and maybe one or two other vehicles who maybe don't have a compressor that may be with me. It'll fill them up as well before overheating. Actually, I don't think I've really had it overheat before. I know 3 vehicles in a row, no issues whatsoever. Whereas some of those cheaper compressors, they were slow, they overheated way too quickly, and it became an issue. So if you want to have good, reliable air, make sure you get one that's a high CFM rate. And a high, like the compressor itself is designed to be used for a longer duration as well. And those type of compressors will go a long way. There's also a couple different ways in which you can operate the power for these compressors. As you can see, these ones here, they have alligator clips. Go to the battery terminals. I can use it in pretty much any vehicle, and away you go. There's other ones that use the 12 volt or that cigarette style plug-in. I find it's a little bit harder in situations because some vehicles don't have those attachments to them. Now, most vehicles that are 4x4 off-road will come with a 12 volt plug, but there's some out there that I've run into that having this style would have worked, but the 12 volt wouldn't. So that might be a consideration as well. There's a good whole range of compressors out there. I find if you go for that 5600 CFM, rated for 37-inch tires, you're good for doing your vehicle, other vehicles reliably, and it will do it very well. Now, this particular compressor that I'm using, the RFX 4100, this one I've used for 2 years, about 2 years now, and I paid for it with my own money. So what I say is my opinion on this one. It's been super reliable. I've had no issues with it. In terms of like different brands that are out there, there's other ones that are 5600 CFM as well. There's a Smitty built one, there's one from Bulldog Winch, and to be honest, most of those are actually made in the same warehouse, or the same, not warehouse, but they're made in the same factory, and they'll maybe have just a different tag on them. But those are very good compressors for the price. I mean, I think this one retails for just over $200, and it does really, really well. The one that I bought that was cheap, I want to say it was like half the price of this one, but man, it was way less than half the performance, that's for sure. There's other ones, there's built-in compressors. ARB makes a nice dual kit, a dual air compressor, and a lot of guys, they'll build them in so they fit underneath their front seats or in the engine bay. You know, I mean, really, really good products. You're probably about $1,000 for a dual air compressor, just off the top of my head. And you're also going to have to get the ARB pump up kit and all the other accessories that go with it as well. Plus, figure out how you're going to mount it. Are you going to mount it in the engine bay? So the Jeep Gladiator, for instance, they actually have a kit that will mount underneath the seat. So you can mount that twin compressor underneath the seat. Really, really good compressor. Nothing really bad to say about it at all. You pay more money for it, you're getting a very quality product. There's lots of other brands and everything out there, and really, if you have one that works well for you, awesome, run with it. But the RFX 4100 really works well for everything that I need. Price was right. And yeah, it saved me quite a few times. Just recently, my Ram Warlock got a nail in the tire, and we're towing. And so air, you can see the air pressure dropping from the sensors inside. And I was like, oh, we're not going to make it home before this thing's flat. Luckily, I had my compressor with me, pumped it up, managed to get home, got my tire fixed. So if I didn't have my compressor with me, it would have been a totally different situation altogether. And we would have been talking about maybe a tow bill. Because it's wintertime, I don't think I have the proper size spare for my winter tires that are on it right now. So yeah, it probably ended up into a tow bill. So $200 option saved me a lot of money in that particular day. So I think they'll pay for themselves real quick. And yeah, definitely look for something with a high CFM. I think you'd be happy with it. Well, I hope that's helped answer some questions that I've been kind of fielding lately. And really, it's a very simple process to deflate and inflate your tires back up. Saves your tires, gives you a better ride. And one thing that I actually didn't touch on that I think is worth mentioning, when you have a low PSI in your tire and a larger traction base, you also do less damage to the actual ground itself. So when you're out on the trails and you're doing less damage, that's always a good thing. Less PSI, less damage per square inch on the trail, man, you can't go wrong with that. And that's the big thing. We want to make sure that we not only take care of our rigs, but we take care of the trails that we're on as well. So I hope that's answered everybody's questions. If you have other questions, shoot them in the messages down below. I get lots of questions every day. I deal with this stuff on a daily basis. So yeah, ask me questions. You know, if there's another video you want to see on a how-to on this, or why do you do this, or you know, what type of camping gear should I be using for winter camping, shoot it off, man. I'd love to do different episodes on kind of how to get out there and have some fun out in Mother Nature, and how to get there, you know, with your vehicle, and how to do it properly. Anyways, thanks a lot for joining, everybody. I hope you've had a good time. I hope it's been informative, and I will see you on the next one.